until all have heard.
Welcome to Friends in Action International's podcast, where we celebrate what God is doing through ordinary people with extraordinary servant hearts. I'm your host, Andy Bachert, and today, before we get started, I wanted to give a quick shout out to one of our trusted corporate sponsors here at Friends in Action, Smile IT Group. Smile IT's mission is to treat people the way they would want to be treated. Nothing is done or sold unless it's absolutely needed, and they're not selling service that they wouldn't want themselves. They take the time to learn what each business needs from their technology so they can make a custom solution that fits the budget. One of the main reasons they started Smile IT was to have the ability to support charities in a much bigger way. They're passionate about supporting charities that help the less fortunate, and the only financial goal that they make of their business each year is a giving goal. They strive to increase their giving every year so that more people can be helped. It truly is more blessed to give than to receive. It's been a pleasure for FIA to have a reliable IT group providing trusted and confidential service for over 4 years now. So let's get started. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce to you Rachel McKeehan, an FIA associate volunteer from Texas who embodies Isaiah 6:8's cry of, "Here I am, send me." She just got off the plane a few hours ago to be with us for the next 3 days. Rachel serves as the facilities manager at her local church in Texas, but she's also something you don't hear about every day. She's a lead cook as an outfitter guide with extensive experience in frontier guided hunts. She's since stepped away from that gig, but when she's not working at church facilities, she's traveling the world with Friends in Action on short-term mission teams, using her mechanical skills and off-grid living experience to advance the gospel. This year, she served on 2 FIA trips across 3 continents. However, since joining FIA in 2003, Rachel has traveled on 8 short-term teams. She's with us this week participating in team leader training. Rachel, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks. It's great to be here.
So it's a pretty interesting story that you have. And before we dive into all the details, I have to ask, how does someone go from maintaining church facilities in Texas to then experiencing guided outfitter trips and now serving in remote mission fields? That's quite a combination.
Well, that would be something that God orchestrated. Actually, when I was doing the outfitting is when I first heard about Friends in Action, and I ended up coming out here and meeting you guys and deciding that I wanted to be a partner with you guys and go on a couple of trips and see how it went.
Very good. Well, let's before we expand into that, let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from.
I'm Rachel McKeehan. I was born in Bakersfield, California, and like Andy said, I am a facilities manager at my church, which takes care of like the buildings, the grounds, all of the facilities requests and stuff like that.
So tell me then, as you grew up in California, what led you into kind of the facilities or hands-on role that you have? Was it education or was it some jobs you may have had in school? What led you to that?
My dad was just kind of a do-it-yourself sort of guy. He'd be fixing the car one week, replacing an engine in our station wagon, fixing the blender for my mom. He'd do stuff like that all the time. And but he was also handy with carpentry, and his livelihood was masonry and laying concrete down. So he, at a young age, he would have us out there helping him and handing him tools and holding the flashlight in the beginning. But with time, it got to be where he was like, "Here, you take this apart and fix this for your mom." And we either fixed it or we didn't. And you learn a lot by doing stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the old adage, if it's broken, you can't break it anymore by trying to fix it, right?
That's exactly, I have completely and totally adopted that. Sometimes people are like, how did you know to get into, to tear into that? And I was like, well, it was already broken and we were going to have to replace it. There was no point in not trying to see if maybe I could fix it.
Yeah, no, very cool. So then as a young adult, early on before, you got into the church ministry and things, what led you into outfitting?
It was just, I needed a job and it was something I thought sounded like a really cool job, and I thought I was tough enough to do it. And I got out there and I realized that I wasn't nearly as tough as I thought, and I also didn't really know that much about outfitting or living off grid or, surviving in the wild. And that time of my life was actually kind of critical to my growth in the Lord, because I just learned to rely on Him, and sort of the prayer without ceasing kind of became a model of mine. Just like, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do, like working with animals and livestock and wild animals, bears and stuff. You just have to, sometimes you're always in situations where you're like,
we're just working with bears and stuff. Yeah, no problem.
You're like, God, I need some help now, or show me what to do. And like, I saw Him answer those prayers time and time again, and it just really grew my reliance on Him in that period of time. And I ended up, excelling at it and doing well. And I was like, they asked me to come back several years in a row.
Very good. So can you share with the audience, I mean, I've heard a lot of cool stories, but can you share with the audience maybe a story or two from that experience of just being out in the frontier and doing guided hunts, the experience you had with not only wrangling the horses, the pack horses and things, but even cooking for the crew and things like that? Yeah.
One of the coolest things, and I'm quick to tell people, like, God answers prayers, and and I have grown in my confidence of God, knowing that He answers prayers, because we did not have propane cook stoves, and we took everything, and I basically cooked from scratch over an open fire. And it's high in the mountains in Wyoming, and thunderstorms come through all the time and different times, and I would just pray to God, first of all, for protection for, our dudes, and also for ourselves. But I would just pray to God, just let me cook dinner for these people. And in all those years 4 years of working out there, I never once had a situation in which it rained during dinner time,
right. Yeah.
Cooking time. And it was amazing, because many times it would rain all day, and people would be like, what are we going to do? And I'd be like, oh, it'll probably stop raining. And by the end of those 4 years, I actually had a confidence in God, because He had answered those prayers so faithfully. And it was kind of incredible if you think about it. And it was just another experience of He hears us, and prayers work. And that, it was just a neat opportunity to tell people when they were like, oh, that was good luck or karma or Mother Nature. And I'd be like, oh, no, I've been praying for this to work out like this all year.
That's cool.
Or all day.
Able to kind of interject that a little bit to these guys.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's part of who I am, is I just want to live my life. And then they're kind of like, what's going on? And be like, this happened because God answered my prayer. And, you just have an opportunity to tell people what's important to you, and what you believe in.
No, that's cool. Certainly prepped you for what you're doing now with Friends in Action. So you got this really cool story, and I'm going to kind of pop this one on you because I didn't say anything to you ahead of time. You got this really cool story that you've told us, at least, about, and again, I'm not going to get it right, so if you don't mind sharing, the horses that had to cross the river or cross the creek during a storm or something, and you're like grabbing horses and grabbing stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a cool story.
The rain
it might
came
not be a
up
God
overnight.
story, but I thought it was a cool story.
Well, it's kind of like the verse in Isaiah that says, when you pass through the waters, they won't overpower you. But it had rained overnight, and we had not realized how much the river had gone up. And so we went to cross, and it was pretty deep. It was up to we were picking our feet up to not get our boots wet. And we got to a spot, and one of the horses, the pack horses, stumbled, and he ended up falling down, and he fell into the water, and he was drowning. He couldn't stand up. He couldn't stand up. In retrospect, in the flurry of excitement, trying to get him cut off from the string and me tie up my string to go help, and it was crazy because his panniers, the packs on the side filled with water, and that was way too much weight. Water weight is way too much weight for a horse to stand up on. So that was literally drowning him. And we finally got down there, and we were like fishing around, and with my pocket knife trying to cut his britches off and get him loose so he wasn't drowning. We're holding his head up out of the water.
That's right. I remember you were holding the horse's head up. That's right.
Now, mind you, it's 30 degrees outside. It's raining, but it's not. It's below freezing, and we're just like. But I definitely was like, probably no more than, oh God, like I help.
Yeah.
Because at that point, and I ended up rolling down the river with the horse, but the horse, when he rolled down, the panniard came off and he was able to stand up. And miraculously, we ended up hiking out of there due to it being so cold, and we were soaking wet. We walked a lot of that 30 miles out of there because just to keep warm to hike out was better than riding because you get too cold.
Yeah.
But, it's like they call into the Lord in their troubles and he saves them out of their distresses. And it's just another instance of God just having his hand on my life and the stuff that I have.
Yeah.
I'm working with.
No, that's cool. That's the story I remember about. I remember you saying about holding the horse's head up and out of the water. So that's just amazing to tough through that, and then to be an example for Christ of, praying through those storms and even crying out, like you said, in that storm. So just a neat story. So I appreciate you sharing. So okay. So you say you did that for about 4 years, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then
half of the year.
Okay.
Half of the year.
Right.
It's
Right.
like
Not
summer,
4 years.
and then we would do the hunt.
Yeah.
We would do the hunting in the late fall.
Okay.
For elk.
So then fast forward, and like I mentioned in your introduction, you're a facilities manager at your church there in Texas. So explain how you got into that, how you got introduced into that.
I was in Vanuatu, actually, and I was looking for a job. I was pushing packages at Amazon, and I was looking for a job, and someone from the church said, hey, this job has come available. Send me your resume. And the pastor there actually called me while I was in Vanuatu on the Wi-Fi. He called me in the middle of the night, and he was like, can you come in tomorrow for this job? And I was like, no, I can't.
No,
I'm in
not.
Vanuatu.
Yeah.
So, and then he called again and asked, could I come in the next day? And I was like, no, I'm not going to be back until like a certain day. And he just, it was when I came back, we interviewed and we talked about it. And it was quite a blessing because I feel like it fell in my lap. I had not had an experience doing a job that was actually in facilities before. Okay. And although I had done different aspects of the job, I felt confident that I could do it. I had never had the position. And so, your resume doesn't carry much weight if you've done it all split up all over the place.
Right.
But they hired me on the condition that I would get to continue to serve at least 2 weeks, 2 times a year with Friends in Action. And I really thought that they would say no to that. And I was just like, God, it's in your hands. Mm-hmm. And they came back and said, we want to support that. And so it was just God's timing and God's plan.
Yeah.
It was definitely.
Very cool. So I actually jumped forward a little bit further. So let's tell the audience how you first heard about Friends in Action. What did that look like? Did you know anything about Friends in Action, or did you know someone? What was that first interaction or first conversation like?
Well, it's a little sketchy how it happened.
We don't do anything sketchy at Friends in Action. Come on.
Well, the details are a little sketchy.
Okay, the details. There you go. Thank you.
I received a call from Betty, and she said that she had gotten my number because I had been I was interested in this position by Dawn, and I was like,
in the opportunity to travel.
Opportunity to travel, and I was like, I have certainly not heard of this before. I've never heard of this organization before. I had just come out from a PAC trip, and I was like, I really have no bearings where this was. I didn't know where Elizabethtown was. I didn't know any of that, and I was like, well, but go ahead and tell me what's your deal? Like, I'd just been in the backcountry for a long period of time. Like, here's some human interaction.
I literally just saved a horse from drowning, and you're calling me about Friends in Action.
And I was like, well, maybe traveling to remote areas would be cool. I mean, I'm in one right now.
That's right.
So we talked, and we ended up talking for quite a while. And then Paul Brosey also reached out, and we talked mostly about elk hunting.
Yeah.
But he seemed like something I was definitely interested in. And I came out in January of 20. I don't know what year. 23
maybe.
I think maybe 23. Mm-hmm. I came out in January of 23 and met you and Susie and met the
those details were a little sketchy too because so we both know Don, and Don's like, hey, I have a friend coming in, and she needs a place to stay. You guys all right with that? And I'm like, who? What? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
and this was like the night of, or the day of.
And I'm like, Don, I thought she was staying with you. She's your friend. Well, no, I don't really know her real well, but it'd be a good opportunity for you to get to know her. So, yeah.
Don is a networker, and Don knows, like, he's very good at seeing potential. Yeah. And, like, being like, hey, I guess he just forgot to tell me I was interested in it. So, but, it all worked out.
Well, it was cool because right away when we met you, I mean, you and Susie hit it off and still together. I mean, you were just talking to her on the phone for who knows how long last night. So anyway, it's been a great friendship. Great to get to know you. So, so that connected you with Friends in Action. So then tell us about your first trip. Where did you go? What did that look like for you as your first international trip? But you have traveled internationally before you met us.
Yeah.
A little bit with your experience. You can share a little bit about that too. But then tell us about your first trip.
Well, I had... when I was orchestrating or trying to get the first trip organized, I was actually working at a orphanage down in Bolivia, Santa Cruz, Bolivia, or Concepcion, Bolivia, and so I was there for 2.5, 3 months, and then I came back, was home for a week, and then I went to Nicaragua actually for 30 days. It was 2 back-to-back 2-week trips. And we were digging footings for the community kitchen down there and tying rebar, which, of course, I've tied a lot of rebar in my life, so that was good. It was definitely a learning curve on the baskets for the bottom of the piers, but by the last one, they were beautiful.
Yeah.
Those were the ones we sent home in pictures. Those were the
ones,
models.
the models.
The ones Andy got.
Yeah.
The pictures right. Andy got. The rest of them, we put a couple yards of concrete on top of and got it good.
Yeah. No, that's a cool, it's just that project in Central America there has been a cool project to see many people be part of. You were there for if you want to call it the groundbreaking, you were there for the groundbreaking of it. And then I had gotten to go down and start installing the steel. And then another team went down, finished the steel, put the roof on. And then this year you were down again as far as one of your 2 trips.
Doing concrete.
Yeah.
We poured concrete on the floor. Mm-hmm. So the footings had all been dug around the outside, and the outside perimeter had been all poured. But we went in and laid, I believe it's 35 feet by 85 feet. Mm-hmm. Yep. We did 3-inch deep concrete with rebar in it, and we did it all with a mixer.
A single mixer.
Single mixer, and loading it with buckets and carrying all the buckets up from the dock by hand, and every bucket of water. Everything is we just form a procession of 3 sand, 3 rock, and 3 small things of concrete.
Yeah, it's an amazing it's an amazing thing to see when you're doing that type of work in an area where, like you said, you have a single batch mixer. They may have been mixing it on the ground too, because they do that often. They do it quite efficiently too. But just to have such a massive slab in, I don't want to say massive to the North American standards, but massive slab to that area of the jungle.
It's pretty big when you look at it.
When you're looking at it, it's like, wow, this is a big God-sized job. Yep. But to see so many different opportunities to work with nationals there, hand in hand, has been pretty cool. And then there was a team down as well this year, doing masonry around the outside of it. And yeah, it's just exciting to see that come together.
Yeah, I saw some of those pictures.
Yeah,
A lot of progress was made.
Yeah. So you were also in Vanuatu. You went to Vanuatu with us this year.
Yep.
Susie and I led that team of with you and the two students from the Turno.
Yep.
So that was a lot of fun. Tell us a little bit about this is, yeah, I'm not going to unpack it for everybody. Tell us your experience in Vanuatu and then this year.
This time? What happened this trip?
How many times have you, so yeah.
This is my third time.
Third time to Vanuatu, yeah.
In Vanuatu. And it's just an absolutely beautiful, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Just pristine. The water, the jungles, everything is just beautiful. Very, very, very rough existence there. I did some carpentry work on the first trip, and then the second trip it was mechanical, and we worked on the dump trucks, we worked on the excavators, skid steers, put new hydraulics in the backhoe. And then this year it was going to be a welding trip, and then somebody got sick.
Who's that? Somebody got sick?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Oh, that was me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I got some sort of respiratory infection and was just very weak for about half of the trip. But that was a bummer. I just kept asking God to please show me the lessons that He wanted me to learn, so I didn't have to do that again. I'd rather not do that again, be laid up.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool just to see how God provided. Susie took really good care of me. Andy looked out for me as well.
Susie does a better job. I'm not so hospitable sometimes when it comes to sickness and.
He didn't slave drive me back out there. He was very gracious about my shortened days and my nap time when I was recovering. But yeah, it was it's kind of a humbling experience, but it was overall a pretty good experience. Just seeing how God provided, and there was actually a medication that was available on the island that could help me get better, and stuff like that.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, sometimes you feel that spiritual warfare when you go out on these trips, and and it's a matter of how do we pull together as a team and support each other, still get the project done, and still be able to support each other too. So.
And you guys were very encouraging, and like I said, you were not. It's sometimes maybe myself. Maybe you roll your eyes and you're like, "Oh, do you really need to take a nap in the middle of the afternoon, or are you lazy?" But
I knew you though. I knew it wasn't because you were lazy.
Yeah,
you literally packed out in the middle of the frontier wilderness of the United States. You're not lazy.
But that was probably part of my lessons. I hope I've learned that sometimes we can't go on to the ability that we wish that we could. Yeah. But it was still, there was things that I could manage to do, working on the weed eaters and the small engines and stuff, and I could sit down and do that. So it was a real fun trip. Overall, but a few lessons to be learned.
Yeah. Vanuatu, we talk about Vanuatu in the podcast a lot. A number of guests have been there and know where it's at. And it's just a great opportunity for people. It's literally on the other side of the world. If you're not familiar with Friends in Action, Vanuatu short-term teams that go there. If you take a globe, you go on the other side of the world from the United States, and you'll see kind of the Fiji Island area, and that's where Vanuatu is. It's a great opportunity. We took the Laterno students there for their summer break as well, and I think they had a great experience. That's one of our podcast episodes too that we recorded on site over there. So to the previous experience you were talking about in just recently in Central America when you were pouring concrete, you said you had to go down and get every bucket of water. Explain some of the challenging conditions or some of the hurdles that you have to overcome as a team member, just from supplies and materials, accessibility on some of these trips.
Well, I think there's two wells there at the village there in Ramaki, and so the water, and they're not like piped to the job site, and there's not hoses to the job site, so it's like hand pump filling a 5-gallon bucket, and we do have a tractor over there that we can a hand pump filling a 55-gallon bucket or tub, and then bringing that over and then dipping with a 5-gallon or 2-gallon bucket and making the mud like that. And it was very slow, laborious. At one point, the tractor was broke down. And so then we just filled 5-gallon buckets and walked probably 100 yards, maybe.
That's at least,
It's a pretty good stretch of land. 5-gallon buckets on each side and just carried it over. And then that was another batch of concrete.
Yeah.
And in a day, I think, I don't know, did we do probably 50 batches of concrete or 60 batches of concrete in a day for a 10 by 85 or 10 by 35 foot section.
Yeah.
And there was 8 sections, I guess. So
in Vanuatu, you mentioned working on small gas engines. So what's that like when you're on an island and you're looking at an engine and you need parts? Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Mostly what it means is you take the carb apart and you blow out all the little tiny ports and you pour some gas on it and you kind of use a toothpick or a little stick and you kind of clean it out and you hope for the best and you put it back together and then you hope that you didn't have too many extra screws and you pull on it and you just probably say a prayer. And 2 of them got running, but still running a little rough, but definitely better than before. It's not like you go down to Ace Hardware and buy a carb kit.
Yeah, right, right. You have to be a little more creative, right?
Yeah, you definitely make air filters out of other materials that you can find randomly around.
Yeah.
Cloth.
So among not just your abilities to fix things and understand mechanically how things are put together and what needs done, you also speak Spanish. So tell me a little bit. You roll your eyes at me, but tell me a little bit about how that came to be.
I can say a lot of things that you would use in a children's home, like brush your teeth, don't fight, don't bite. So those in Ramaki maybe came in handy a couple of times. There's a lot of children around, but just from spending a lot of time over there, and my brother-in-law is also Hispanic, and he speaks Spanish frequently. I will speak to him in English, and he will answer me only in Spanish. So I'm sure he wants me to learn more Spanish like that. I understand Spanish much better than I speak it, but when you're immersed in it, then it kind of comes out, and then when you're desperate, you don't really care if it sounds exactly correct.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of almost by experience and default.
Yeah.
Is how you can
understand. And you have to be. I realized early on that you have to be willing to laugh, because they're going to laugh, and it's just funnier if you laugh with them and then try and figure out why it's funny to them. And so I like humor and I like to laugh, and I'm comfortable laughing at myself. So that definitely helps, because I'll be like scratching my head, like, what? Why are we laughing now? I thought I just said something serious.
Yeah.
And then trying to learn that, and then you hopefully don't make that same mistake again.
Yeah. Well, that's good you talked about laughing with them and understanding them. It segues into the next talking point. Oftentimes we talk so much about construction and hands-on ministry, building, fixing motors, working on equipment, maintenance. Sometimes people ask, well, what part of discipleship and gospel work, what does that have to do with the other? Tell me a little bit about your experience working with nationals, how even doing those tasks can help share the love of Christ.
Yeah. In Ramaki, it's a little bit different than many of the sites where we work more on a base or where we're not as much with the nationals. But Ramaki, you're right in the island with the people there, and it's really fun. And they're working with you, alongside of you. It's just exciting because, like, when you're going through some hard work, when you're working hard and everybody's working hard, and there's setbacks, and it just makes a bond. It creates a bond. And it's just a really cool opportunity. In Rama, Key, it was really cool to work with some of the believers there. And I mistakenly went down there because I thought I could bless them. And while I certainly hope that I did bless them, I also was like, they were such a blessing to me. And it was really cool to see how they came to me and were like wanting to make sure that I knew that I wasn't doing this work as a way of making works to get to heaven. Because that's something that is so in their culture. Their religion would be based off of works in the Moravian Church. So it was just really a cool experience for them to, like, the Christians, the believers, to be able to come over to me and be like, no, you're doing this because why are you doing this? You're not doing this because this doesn't get you into heaven. And I was like, oh no, it doesn't get me into heaven. But it was awesome to see that they were like holding that standard to the people that are coming there. And it's being able to talk with them and understand them and, just have them tell me about their lives and stuff was really, really it was a really awesome experience just to be able to talk to them about the Bible and have them ask me, well, what are you reading in the Bible? And I'm like, oh, well, actually, I'm reading in Thessalonians. And, like them wanting to look at my Bible and read the words in English, which they didn't fully understand. But that's really unique about that certain field there in Nicaragua is how close the teams are with the believers there and the non-believers. Yeah, that's a really good witness to the non-believers there, especially in that culture.
No, very good. Yeah, oftentimes we get to experience working right alongside like that with the Nationals, but the relationships don't stop there. Often, again, WhatsApp is the international, or the worldwide way of communication. So tell me a little bit about that after you leave a project.
Yeah. So I didn't really publicize that I had WhatsApp, but you're able to be found on Facebook. I am public on Facebook. And so different people from Nicaragua have found me, and they will frequently ask me how I'm doing. Sometimes they've called me, and because they don't really know how to type the English words, but they're like, oh, you understand us, so just call me. And so we'll talk and we'll laugh, and not a whole lot is said, but it's just really cool. This last time when I went back, I had told Rick and Uni, the missionaries there, I had told them that I was going to be there, but I told them I wanted it to be a surprise when I got there. And it was fun to see the different women that have stayed in contact with me come running to the dock when they heard that. Well, they heard because of the shouts or because someone had run and told them, because there's no cell phone service. But they came running to see me and give me a hug, and they were it was cool just to, like, going back to your friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that build those relationships. Again, we focus so much on the tangible, the hands-on stuff that we do. I think we don't share enough about those stories about how we do build relationships, and we share. And while it may not look like traditional missionary or evangelism work, it's relationship building, and that's the seeds that God's asked us to plant. And it's just a cool opportunity in most of the areas that we get to serve, which is really enjoyable.
I have one thing. One of the really sweet thing happened when we were in Peru. There was a young man that was native there working on the project that we were working with, and one of our guys, Hunter, was there, and he was talking to him, but he couldn't understand him in Spanish. And the guy from Peru kept saying, the heavens are singing because the sky was so beautiful.
Okay.
And I snapped a picture of them, and he was like explaining, like, look, the heavens are singing right now because it had rained and the rainbow was out, and it was like one. It
Well,
was
and that
just
spot in
beautiful.
Peru where you look over, it's just,
Yeah.
the sky looks
Yeah.
awesome.
And but it was just like a really cool opportunity because of both of the guys' belief in the Lord, and they're trying to understand each other. And then finally he gets it, like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, like, and the guy from Peru was kind of like proclaiming, you know, God's creation was singing to him.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, that's really cool. You get to see an awful lot of, I call them National Geography moments. You get to see them in person.
Yes.
It's so cool. And I think I like to tell team members that's God's way of saying thank you.
Yep.
Because we get to see things that a lot of people in this world don't get a chance to see. So it's very cool. So a couple of years ago, you've committed to become an associate member of Friends in Action, which it's a neat opportunity because it's a kind of a step forward of people committing to be part of what we do here and believe in our mission and our vision of Friends in Action. So you've talked about going on a few trips this next coming year.
Yep.
What can you explain to the audience that desire to keep coming back and traveling and be more of a part of the work of Friends in Action?
Well, it's something that I believe in. It's something that I've been on a lot of trips, and they haven't all been perfect, but like we're in rough country where we have setbacks, but they're well organized, and you guys do a great job of support and with your team leaders, and it's just a really unique opportunity to be able to have the account and have my financial partners be able to fund that account through that for those trips. And yeah, it's something that I wanted to put my name on and kind of like do as much as I can.
Yeah. And even though you're located in Texas, you're like family for us.
Yep.
So even when you got here just a couple hours ago, it was kind of like a family reunion when you get here and get to see everybody. And yeah, it's always a cool time when people that have called FIA family get back here to the headquarters and get to see everybody. So we're excited to have you here for a couple days as well. And I know Susie's excited to be chatting with you and to be hosting you too. At our place. So
well, it's been really cool to see how the friendships here from Friends in Action have become, like you and Susie, I consider close friends, and several of the other people here at Friends I stay in contact with a couple times a month, just keep in contact, and it's like it's a good support because it's like we all kind of get each other. We all have the same goal, and it's the same. A lot of the same things are important to us, and I'm always excited to come out or go on a team or come out and do training or come to a banquet or something like that, because it's just such an encouragement to be with people that are very like-minded.
Yeah, I appreciate you unpacking that. It's a culture we've tried to build of family and teamwork, and individuals, we bring them in. It's been a wonderful experience. So you mentioned you do have a full-time job down in Texas. So what does that look like as you balance trips, whether it be one trip or two trips a year? I know one of the stipulations you had asked there when you first accepted the position at the church in Texas was that you continue to travel. What does that look like with balancing your responsibilities, but yet following where God's leading you in these teams?
Well, the church has been pretty gracious in allowing some flexibility of times. There are some times that are blocked out that are like no-goes, but they've really worked with me, and I expect to probably look at some of the calendar dates for this coming year, probably in the next couple of days while I'm here. with you because our church calendar starts filling up, I'm sure as you're aware, the year before.
Yeah.
So, and you, I believe, have the calendar kind of tentatively set for your teams going out in 26. So, and then it'll be a little bit of going back and forth and haggling and seeing, can I get somebody to come in and do some contract labor or stuff like that. But I have a really great guy at the church, and he's, he really steps up and he takes care of stuff when I'm gone. And it's nice. This last time when I was in Vanuatu, it's a day and a half ahead or something, but a couple of times he'd call me and it was in the middle of the night, but I actually did have cell service. So we were able to figure out what needed to happen and move forward like that. But it really is, I'm very grateful to God and to the church just for their wanting to partner with me, and to that is what they're doing, is partnering with me and moving and helping me be able to go out and help on these teams.
Yeah, we we have a handful of our members have very engaging churches, and we can't share our appreciation enough. I mean, I visited your church in the past and just was encouraged by the people that I met. The people that are excited about having you out on the mission field from time to time, and it's hard for me to explain our appreciation of churches that recognize God's command of the Great Commission. And everybody says, well, it was when Christ ascended after his death, that's when he called for everybody to go. Well, no, it started back with Abraham and the command that God gave Abraham to multiply. And that's what missionaries do, is we multiply people through the Word of God. And churches that grasp that and get on fire for outreach, whether it's local outreach or international outreach, God blesses churches that obey his commands. And I've seen it time and time again with different staff members and churches that have supported missions and supported staff and supported missionaries through Friends in Action. So I'm encouraged to see when churches get on board and support their staff too. So, Rachel, you've traveled with us many times. We appreciate this podcast and you kind of unpacking it for everyone to understand your story. But we've seen potential in you over those couple years of being on teams, and we really appreciated your not only experience hands-on and your experience building relationships, but also experience to kind of mentor. And I've seen that a little bit in Vanuatu this past year with the students from Laterno and just the relationships you built with them. So we asked you to come to the team leader training. That's why you came here for the next couple days. We're going to be conducting team leader training here at Friends in Action. We have some other team members that we've also seen potential in, but we also are bringing in current team leaders to just do a refresh and for everybody to kind of get together. Again, kind of that family atmosphere that we're striving for, so the team leaders can help each other out as well. Yep. What does being a team leader or being asked to be part of a team leader rather than just being on a team now mean to you?
Well, I feel privileged that you asked, and I'm excited for the opportunity. Just opportunity to lead as the Lord provides opportunities for it, and I just it's just a really unique way of bringing people together and encouraging them, and just also I know I've been on trips with several leaders, and just something that I know that you have already instilled in the leaders, and is something that I also want to model, is just sometimes we just have to sit back and we have to work on relationships, or like sometimes it's not 100% about work. Sometimes you got to sit back and look at the creation, or talk to the people that we're working with from the areas that we're working with. And it's just that, yes, we're going there to do a job and it has to get done, and we're going to work hard at it, but also the relationships and, our witness for the Lord. Being able to do that is something that I look forward to being able to help with.
Yeah, Yeah, that's exciting. We're glad you're here. So the reason we do these podcasts is, like I said in the intro, for someone watching that may be considering missions, but just feel like, well, I'm not an evangelist, I'm not a church planner. How can I be part of missions? So the reason we bring on our team members, our team leaders, some of our staff, our field leaders, is to help explain, like, we're just ordinary people that God called. If people are feeling that listening or watching this podcast, what's some advice that you would have for them?
Well, Andy, I grew up in a Christian home. My parents read the Bible. We memorized a lot of the scripture. I ended up kind of not walking closely with the Lord for several years, longer than I wished. But about 8 or 9 years ago, kind of just surrendered my whole life to the Lord. And I think one thing that is really important to get across is just because you haven't done it before doesn't mean that you can't do it now, and that the Lord wouldn't move you to do that now. And just moving, just asking Him, how can I serve? How can I do these things? How can I use the gifts that you have given me, or that God has given me, and to further His kingdom? And may just be that you know how to cook over a fire, or you may be able to lay mud for laying stone, or you may have mechanical engineering degree that would aid in some of that stuff. But it doesn't have to be something that is you go and train for. It's just God gave each one of us a gift, and we're able to use it if we pursue that with Him.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Is there any last, as we wrap up, is there any last words of encouragement you can give to someone that's on the fence?
Well, if you're on the fence, I think you should just go. Just
go.
one trip.
I got a golden nugget out of her, Emily. Just go.
Just go.
There you go.
I think that even if you go and you decide that that's not where God wants you, it will be an eye-opening and experience, and it will be a blessing to you and to other people as well.
Yeah, I think I've shared on other podcasts. I've never experienced a team that has come back and somebody said, well, I didn't feel used, or I didn't feel that I had a task to do. God always finds areas of ministry when you just go, like you said.
Yep. I think I tell every high schooler, I'm around the youth at my church a lot, and I tell them, you don't have to go with me, you don't have to go with Friends in Action, but go. Get out of the United States and go serve the Lord. And I feel like it changed my life the first time I did that. And I think statistically, it's going to be changing a lot of people's lives.
Good. Rachel, thank you so much for being here. This is actually a special podcast episode. This is our 12th episode, our 1-year anniversary. So we release a podcast once a month on YouTube and the other podcast platforms. And it's special to have not only just an FIA associate here, but also a friend. So I appreciate you being here with us to share your heart for ministry, to share your heart for people. And I think that's where I can really tell when you're sharing your stories about your experiences is you have a heart for people. You have a heart for people to hear about Christ. And you understand, you get it, that God's blessed you with the ability to work with your hands to be able to be part of that. So not only a cool opportunity to be here on our 1-year anniversary episode, but just to sit here with a good friend too.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun, and it's been a pleasure having this interview.
To our listeners, Rachel embodies what it means to live as friends in action, being willing to say, here I am, send me, and then actually going. Whether you have mechanical skills, language abilities, wilderness experience, or something completely different, God can use your willing heart and surrendered skills to advance His kingdom. If Rachel's story has stirred something inside your heart, I encourage you to visit our website to learn more about short-term mission trips with FIA. Go to fiaintl.org. That's fiaintl.org. Maybe you can't go, but want to encourage Rachel in her journey here at FIA. All of our associates are support raised, so take a minute and go to the fiaintl.org give page. There's a link at the top of our homepage to give, and you can find the opportunity to support Rachel right there. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to say yes when God calls and just go. One more shout out to our partners at Smile IT Group and their passion to support not only the dental industry, but their passion to support nonprofits changing the lives here at home and around the world. You can check them out at smileitgroup.com. Until next time, keep living as friends in action for God's glory around the world until all have heard. Thanks.